We are loading everything up and all this other happy shit.
Shizzle.
The stuff. There we are. So at least we know we're online. Feeds everywhere. We got the chat up. Here's the skinny tonight. We are going to have a small discussion, super tiny discussion, about all the fun stuff that's been going on with bulk subs. We are going to talk about who we use for bulk subs, our bulk sub experiences, which are all good but one, and kind of, hey Dan, kind of go into some discussion of what it looks like happened and who the people you need to go through so this shit doesn't happen to you. So, step one. If you didn't know, there was a giant PSA sub that got held back, quote unquote. Held back. This sub, so for example, here's my PSA sub right here. Everybody sent me cards. My name is Chris. Everybody sent me their cards. I said, I'm going to charge you X dollars. We're going to get a bulk sub. And here's the deal. I'll get it sent in right away. Send it to me in March. So, in March, Chris gets everybody's cards. I'm Chris. How you doing? Me, Chris, gives all the cards to Chris. Hey, Chris, could you submit those for me?
I'd be happy to.
Chris would be happy to. This Chris, here's what he did. Just set them on the table. Okay, now they're sitting down. We're going to leave those there till June. Okay, this is March. We're going to leave that stack there. But then in June we say, hey, Chris, did you get those submitted? Oh, shit, they're sitting on this table. So Chris picks them up, and then Chris gives them to me. I am now Vintage Breaks. Thank you. I got a sub I got to send in, guys. Okay. Wait a second. Let me just set this down.
Snore.
Then I set them down again. Now, June, July-ish, they're in Vintage Breaks' hands. And we have sat them down. So we should go about our daily business, and we should open packs, and we should have our soda pop. Oh, shit. People are pissed. They don't have their cards.
It's time
We
for the
should
national.
submit that.
It's time for the national. We don't have any grades.
October rolls around. This is the March sub that Chris, me, got and gave to Chris. And then Chris sat on them. And then after that, Chris gave them to me, Vintage Breaks. I'm two people. And I sat on them. And then I said, holy shit, everybody's mad.
Yep.
We should send these to PSA. And I send them in like 12 different subs. Because that makes sense. The whole time I'm telling people, don't worry, there's a holdup at PSA, you'll get your cards. Don't worry, they're in the research and ID phase. And don't worry, you'll get them. And then you'll message me later and I'm going to say to you, oh, they're still in research and ID. I know it's been 6 months, but PSA's way backlogged. Well, what it turns out is nobody did anything that we can place. We can all speculate and we can all say, hey, who knows what happened to the cards during the delay, but we know they were sat on. So here's the thing. Here's where we are. Here's the breakdown. Chris took people's cards and money. Then Chris sent the cards to Chris, which turns out was a genius idea because Chris sat on them. He pressed them. Pressed the cards. For like months, like 2 months. Then Chris sent them to Vintage Breaks, and Vintage Breaks sat on them for like 6 months, and then sent them in. So now the whole scuttlebutt is Nobody knows what sub their cards are in. Nobody knows where the hell they were when they got submitted, where they'd been this whole time. And we got Chris playing.
Do they even know if those are their cards anymore?
Well, it's a shit show. Me, Chris, the original Chris,
Yeah.
not the Vintage Breaks Chris.
Right.
That's you. So this guy told everybody he took care of it. He submitted them. Now his wife's on there talking about how she's wrote it all down and she's got all this shit on paper. Nobody's seen it on paper. Okay, so that's there. And then as soon as you get involved, Chris, which we still don't know why it went to Chris.
Yeah.
But as soon as Chris got involved, everything gets a little more convoluted. Now Chris is trying to do damage control on the other end. He's trying to break it down and help, send in private messages. But again, there's no major post that says, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours, this is yours. Here's when it was submitted. Right? Then, now that I have sent all these to Vintage Breaks. Oh, you sent them. Sorry, Chris.
Yeah.
Me, Chris, sent them to you. You, Chris, sent them back to me on Vintage. So again, we don't know what happened there and why it went there. We can only assume that they've got some setup for bulk and shit. We don't know that.
Well,
Who Chris is?
obviously
I'm
know.
Chris. Well, that's Chris too. There's two Chris's involved. Anyways,
Merry Christmas. Ah,
it's that time of year. So here's the deal. We have no clue what's happened yet. They're sending out PMs. We got your cards. Here's your cards. So the meanwhile, this dude was sitting on cards. He was selling slabbed cards from PSA. So you being Chris, the Chris who knows Vintage Breaks,
right.
you say, yeah, man, I got some cards back in my 25-day sub. But yet, while you were getting your 25-day sub back, you totally forgot about the 700-card bulk sub you had sitting next to your sock drawer. Probably with some dirty undies on it. I don't know.
Possibly.
So the thing is, we still don't know. So we'll refresh one more time where we are. My name's Chris. I used to be an admin of a page. The realist page, because I'm real. Hey guys, send me your cards. I'm going to bulk sub them to PSA. Thanks for your cards. I took your cards and your money and I sent them to Chris. 700 cards went to him for the March sub. He sat them down. And they sat on his table till June or July, still not sure which one. And in June or July, he was like, holy shit, I should submit these. So then he sends them to Vintage Breaks. Same PSA sub now has changed hands from the beginner to the first bulk subber, to the second bulk subber, to the third bulk subber. They sat at Vintage Breaks till October. So a 45-day sub has now took from end of March till now. They're still not getting them back. The money involved is, and I do not have the original post on the cash that says, my name's Chris, I'd like to take your bulk cards. But you got to believe it's $10. At $10 a card, just the 700 cards that went to the other Chris, $7,000 in hand. Some of that's got to go to PSA, some of that doesn't. The moral of the story by the end of this shit show is the people who sent them to the original Chris picked the wrong subber because he couldn't handle it, and then he sent them to a different Chris who was the wrong subber, who then sent them to Vintage Breaks who was also the wrong subber. So the moral of the story, guys, and what it comes down to is if you're going to send your cards to somebody and you're going to get a bulk rate, you should know them. They should have great references because you're sending your cards there and you're sending them money. So my bulk sub that's already prepared for December, this bulk sub, which is Zions. It's
Vladdies
Acuna's,
and
Alonzo's, Vlad Otto's. That sub is ready to go out in December. I have always used Mickey, but that's because we were on the 99-day page. Dan says Daly has a sub as well, Mark Daly, who we also know through our breaking, and we also know as a stand-up guy. Perry, in their 20s, I don't know. They look much older than that and worse at life. But I have now done subs with Mickey for a long time. Kurt has done subs with Mickey. Everybody. Mark Daly is a stand-up guy. If you're gonna go to PSA, pick a guy you know. Contact Kurt or myself. Get him sent out. If Mark Daly's doing it, I have no problem with Mark Daly. That cat is in all sorts of stuff with us. Got no problem with him. Mickey's been doing it forever. And the point is, Mickey's good too. Mickey's really good. And I've already got 54 cards here that Kurt's going to pay for that are going to PSA. I'm trading him some deer sticks. So I got 50 cards heading to PSA in the December bulk sub. Guys, those are two stand-up guys coming from me, coming from Wayne, coming from Kurt, coming from here at Ripping. Use the guys we know. Use the guys that are stand-up. That's the guys I recommend using. I'm not sending my stuff to anybody else, and I really don't care. That's how that's going to go. BGS bulk subs. Heads up, disclaimer. We've done one. It sucked. Here's why it sucked.
it's not done yet.
It's still not done. It's been a year. Guys, if you want cards subbed to BGS via bulk, prepare yourself for the longest time without your cards ever. We have got some back. Wayne got crapped on.
Why some and not others? Why not all at the same time? Don't really get that.
That's not been a good experience. I would recommend if you're going to use BGS to send it in, get your cards back, because good Lord, our cards have been there forever. Mark Kirshner is on our list somewhere. He is doing SGC subs. We have subbed with him since he started. And I recommend him too. You haven't seen him yet, but Kurt's got him. Kurt's got the SGC letter back. The turnaround was awesome. It was great. So that's what I would like. Calvin Arnold, you remember Calvin. A dude talked to a dude who knew another dude who once was friends with a different dude that submitted it through a different dude. That's exactly what went on.
That's what happened.
So the moral of this whole story and this whole discussion, if you got packs, that is a Zion back pink pack. Bulk packs. Kurt does a bulk pack sub. Does a hell of a good job. It takes forever. It is insane. But they come back nice. Kurt sends them out nice. And he takes really good care of you. Mark Kirshner took care of us for SGC. Was amazing. Cards came back. It was insanely fast. Kurt, I mean, you were down here when we talked about sending them, and we had them back within, it was like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And again, Mark Daly's a stand-up cat. Mickey is who I use because we've been using him, and we have his system down. But I'm not sending, hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of stuff to anybody I don't trust. So if you're going to send out a big old stack of bulk, pick a guy and send it to him. Again, Kurt, if you want to do packs, Kurt's your man. Prism Zion pack, I'm sending it off. I'm using Kurt. SGC's mark. I recommend not bulking BGS due to the year-long wait, which, well, actually, hell, we might be past a year now.
Oh, we are.
We're past a year now. Shit, it might be a year and 2 months. That sucks. BGS I like for grades, but holy shit, I'm not sending bulk. Mark and Mickey for your BGS, so, or for your PSA. Calvin is right. The reason I am doing this is because the number of people affected by this joke of a submission is insane.
I don't know how they make.
Well, here's this
promises.
thing, Chris, who is getting lambasted, and he should, has got other submits out. 1,600 cards, multiple submittages. I think I've got better grades on bulk subs, really, to be honest with you. But, I don't know. Still hit and miss. I'm saying this Chris Cat, he had multiple subs, thousands of dollars in his hands, and they're not producing the information that's needed. The other Chris guy is on damage control, and we both know why he's on damage control, because there's VB involved.
They obviously have no tracking system.
So, guys, watch who you're working with in the hobby. Watch what you're doing business with. You cannot give your cards to people you don't know. You cannot let people you don't know hold your cards. And I'm a little concerned because all the parties haven't come forward and talked about this yet. This first Chris guy who took the cards in has done a lot of work trying to, lie his way into a circle so he can just keep looping it. And it's not pretty. The other Chris guy is doing PMs and damage control and trying to show sub dates and trying to get subs back to people. Never really explained what he did besides, hey, I shit the bed.
Lost your cards.
But there's one party involved that hasn't said a word. And that's where the card sat for 6 months.
Sad.
They haven't said a thing. The second Chris actually supposedly works there. And he's supposedly doing the damage control there too. But I can tell you right now, if Kurt and I sat on your cards because you wanted to wait to ship, and then when the time came to ship your cards because you wanted to wait 2 months, you know what you're getting? You're getting all your damn cards. And that's what'll happen. And I want to make sure that we present that way because that's the position we want to be in.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, if we messed up and lost some shit, we definitely would not sit in the background and not say a word and let Wayne take all the heat.
He'd make it up to you somehow, some way.
You've seen what happens here when it's a bad pack. We take care of you. If you're watching us now, you obviously follow us. You obviously believe what the three of us are saying. Listen to us when we're telling you who to bulk stuff through just to save the risk. Packs go to Kurt. I don't know anybody that sends them any other way. Send them to Kurt. Kurt gets good grades. Send your SGC to Mark. Send your PSA to Wayne or Mark or Mickey.
Yeah.
And don't piss around, risk losing your money and your cards. Now that we've talked about the legendary, epic shit show that is currently going on with that bulk sub, I'd like to talk about a lot of the ways I pick out what I'm subbing. when I look at my bulk subs, you know, obviously what I'm first looking at is condition of the cards I want to send. But the nice thing about the bulk, Kirshner, Mark Kirshner, he is in the chat. He is on, looks like he's on YouTube right now. M-A-R-C, and then K-U-R-S-C-H-N-E-R. When I do a bulk sub, guys, the nice thing about bulk is the price. So I can take a, you know, card I'm selling for not that high a value. That's the Acuna Holiday. And I can spend my $9.50. Some guys charge $10. That's fine. But I can spend that money and get it slabbed for under what it's going to be worth. You know, you're not going to see me sending in a 1965 PSA 4. Because I know it's a 4. Or maybe it's a 5, but it's right there. Yeah. And it doesn't present at $10. The card's not worth $10. So when you search them, the bulk sub allows you to be, what do you want to say?
Well, you get some margin there.
Yeah, you can send a lot more stuff. You can send, like I'm going to take a risk on this cat, Kevin Newman, and a nice little black Kevin Newman. I want to send him in a bulk because I think he's got some upside. Good player. Yeah, he plays for Pirates, which sucks. But generally they can't afford to keep their good players, so, you know, he's going to be out. Or I like to send in
Short prints.
Short prints. That's an SSP Roger Maris. Send that in. Sells for 20 $25 right now on eBay. But I can grade it and hope to get a 10 and hop out. It's the Acuna Albies Rainbow. I would not grade this card regularly. But at the bulk price, I can risk getting that 10. Best tool, yeah, photographer loop. The new cards, you're right, Mark. They come out of the pack hot. Some centering issues. Occasional chip on a corner because the pack got jacked up.
Yeah.
But that loop is key. If you have a really good phone, like an iPhone, my brother uses the iPhone. He bought the iPhone 11, I think, or the 10 or some shit.
Of course he did.
And he zooms in with that iPhone over the card in the camera, and he can see, you know,
Surface
somebody
stuff.
who sneezed on it 10 years ago. And it's cheap to send bulk, but you still got to look at your cards. But you got a lot more risk. You can send a card that's coming back as an 8. I got some Ripken rookies upstairs I'm going to go through. And I don't need a 9 or a 10. I can get an 8 and be happy because the price is right. But
some of that new stuff, though, you're expecting 9s, 9.5s.
I want 9.5s and 10s on this new shit. Yeah. You kidding me? I mean, look at that. The holiday stuff's all shiny as hell.
What they think they can find.
Yeah, you gotta. You can piss your life away grading cards, spending money. In bulk's the best way to go because at $9 or $10, you know, it's not 20. Or what the hell were they charging at the National this year, Kurt? Was it 50? What the hell was it on site? It was nuts.
Back in the day.
God, it was awful. You know, you don't need that top of the line card.
And it's prorated for value of the card too.
Exactly.
Which is ridiculous.
So, you know, this is if you want to grade out a set. You know, 1980 tops. The only way you can afford to do it's bulk. And by God, you better make sure when you send it to a guy that that's the dude that's submitting it. Because if he sends it to somebody else named Chris, all you're getting is Cheeto fingers, man. Your cards are done. You don't know where they are. You don't know if they're lost. And holy hell.
Yeah.
I can't imagine running an operation that way. And I also can't imagine that if my name is involved, that I'm not going to stand up and say, hey, look.
This is my deal.
We dropped the ball. We didn't submit them. Centering on new stuff is a little sketchy. It's all about how to tell where it starts.
Yep.
But you're right. When you look at that card there,
a lot of
what
non-border
the hell?
stuff.
You just got to get close and hope you're good. If there's questions, you can get like if you get a good software, you can size the borders with the computer. You can actually do that. That'll get you your centering, but it's not just centering; it's surface. Edges.
Surface with the new stuff is the big
we have got killed on edges and surface on a lot of shit. You got all this shiny foily crap, you know. You
surface on foily stuff.
You can't have Cheeto fingers when you're doing cards. Stay off the Cheetos and Doritos.
Yeah.
Doritos tacos too. They're so good, but you don't want to eat that and do cards. The worst thing is when you go to a card show and a dude's waist deep in a bag of chips, and then he wipes his pants and goes at him. To be honest, I think SGC, Dan, as far as standards, I think SGC is an absolute challenge. They are tough. You'll see it when you see those cards from Kurt. They're fucking tough. SGC's tough. They're very consistent, and they're getting closer to PSA on the gap now. But I think as far as bulk goes, I have got more what I would call upgraded cards than I have downgraded ones in the bulk subs. And I would say there's always that card that's misgraded. You've seen those that could have come back that you look at it, it's like that's a 6.
Yeah, how do you get 6?
It's a 4SC10, but it's a 6 for us. I'm telling you guys, if you want a good, solid, consistent grader, and you want a really sweet ass holder, those black edged holders for, let's see, I wonder if I can pull one up here. SGC. Image, please. I will switch to show you. Right there, guys. So that's the SGC holder. I like this black border. I like how they got that corner framed out real nice. You can see it. It's good, clean holder. Auto here. Grade, cert number. That's a nice, I like it. I like SGC, and I think they're tough. I would be happy to own anything in, anything in an SGC holder. I'd be content with. Old sewing plastic tape to measure centering. I'm gonna be honest. That's cool. Yeah. He has a comp program that gives him a starting grade. That's cool too, Ed. Feel free on our Facebook page, man, and post. Oh, look at that. I got all Wayne can here. It's just a big fat kid now. Oh, okay, I covered up my belly. Feel free and post that link to that program, Ed, if you want, on our Facebook. They don't sell like PSA, but I think it's going to close. And they're tough. I mean, I've graded with all three big companies, and by far the hardest one is SGC. PSA is not consistent enough for me. They are all over the freaking map. And if I'm going to grade new shit, especially new shit with an auto on it, and I think it's a really promising, good chance at a 10, it's going to go to BGS. That's where I'm setting it. I like their setup with the subgrades. But again, don't send bulk to BGS. It's just garbage, man. It's not good. It's not where you want it to go. And
not for a year and a half.
You gotta wait forever. Yeah, SGC being a smaller company, I think they got some other shit to work through.
Yeah.
But they've done a lot in the last year or two to position themselves good, or well, I guess. And I like those slabs. They are good looking.
Good looking.
But I would say if you want to talk the hardest grading company is SGC, I think. I think PSA is a good company. They're still the pinnacle of the hobby, but they are all over the place with inconsistency. And BGS you can't send a bulk to, so you sure as hell better send them something you think is going to get a 9.5 or a 10. Because otherwise bulk you're going to be like me and Wayne, and holy hell.
Food on.
At least I know they got there. I've seen the delivery.
Yeah.
So, but again, guys, use guys I'm not gonna. I guess the wrong thing to say is use people I recommend is probably not the right way to say it. But if you're gonna ask me who I'm recommending, SGC's Mark, Kirshner, and Daly and Mickey. I use Mickey.
If you've had success, let us know with whom.
You can post us some other stuff too.
Confirm
but
it.
I don't. Look, Kurt, if they're still sitting on cards, they're going to get minimum size requirements due to the edges being pressed like a screw down. But follow that, guys. If you're not following that, that's on the updates. Mickey keeps it reasonably well posted on 99. And we're going to update occasionally, but you got to take into question all three parties that are involved in that. We know there's three parties. There's been some shady dudes.
And they got some subpoenas in Chicago.
So there's some shady cats out there. There's shady dudes that did this grading deal. There's three groups. You got to take a good hard look at all of them, especially the one that's not talking to people. If you can't come out and state your business, explain yourself, and stand behind what you've done, you've got to question the integrity of the situation. If you've looked at the post, you know exactly who I'm referring to as far as the group that hasn't said anything. So, as a buyer, besides the price being insane, I would take a really hard look at that other group too. These guys are admins. One of them ran a scammers page. I don't care, what anybody thinks, but you can't run a scammers page and scam people. What do you got, Steve Loft? What else do you look for when subbing? Condition is number one. So I just grab the card and I say, how do I feel condition-wise? General condition. It looks really good. I think that's a good start. And then I get down to the nitty-gritty and I really check that centering out. What am I doing on centering? These holidays are shit for centering. Get a centering. Look at the surface for scratches, especially cards like these prisms. They got all sorts going on, so the scratches are hard to see. Mark made a good point. Get a loop or get a really good camera phone that you can zoom in. These silvers scratch like a son of a gun. Look for the scratches. The scratches are what you're going to miss. On older cards, look at the edge. Right down the edge, cuts, cut lines, low pops. But guys, on this new stuff, I mean, I'm just starting, a lot of this new stuff in 10s is 40 to 100 bucks. But I'm spam subbing it. Because Acuna stuff, I don't see it going down. I mean, what is there, 6,000 10s for Trout cards? I mean, yeah. That rookie just keeps going up. So, take a look. Yeah, March right. Lenses are not.
Yeah.
They're not spendy. And I'm guessing this program Ed White has isn't spendy either. And Ed has subbed a ton of crap, so if it really wasn't even in the realm of what he's using, then I'm guessing he wouldn't use it anymore. But the scratches are what most people miss. Edges and corners. There's Mike B throwing it out. Look at the surface. The edges and the corners are real simple to do. The edges can get a little more tricky, especially on older stuff. But that surface, man, those shiny cards, the chromes. When you just look at this bad boy, and it's got 8,000 different things going on, it's hard to look at it and see that crease. So you got scratch. So you got to get a loop out. The old stuff, the surface wrinkles, are so hard to see. And eBay, as Steve here has brought up, eBay is so hard to buy it on because you can't look at that card. You can't
zoom it.
You can't hold it, and you can't get there. So you have to. There was a dude that posted some card the other day, and it had got a 4, and he was pissed. This isn't a 4, but it had a corner rub and another corner touch, and you knew it was a 4. So really start, when you get good cards back, recognize what they are. Some top to bottom centering is a little more testy than side to side. 79 basketball is that way. The top to bottom is so much harder to notice than side to side. That side to side shit, you can see that in a hurry. I would just be careful. Surface is by far what has caught us. Bowman AU up, Bowman Chrome, surface.
Bowman Chrome.
On almost all those cards, wasn't that what dinged you the most?
Surface.
Surface.
Got 8s.
Gum stains, you're screwed. You can get wax off with a pantyhose. It's a fine deal because if you press too hard, you can create a wrinkle too. So there's varying degrees of success with that. Raw cards at a show, always ask to take them out. Always, because when you're looking at that holder in the light, you get reflection. So always say, hey, you mind if I take it out? Take it out, look at it, flip it over, look at it, get close. Most of the up and up guys don't care if you use a loop at a show.
We had a few guys come around.
There is some dudes that had them. And then there's guys that'll loop your PSA 5 and nitpick the hell out of it. And it's like, yeah, that's great. It's still a 5. You got to pay close to 5 price. But
yeah.
Just be careful out there, guys. Every part of this business has really good people in it. We know quite a few.
Yeah.
And every part of this business has used car salesmen. Oh, don't mind that little antifreeze leak. It's not that bad. Don't mind that drop of oil. I wiped the rest off already.
There's some flippers.
So, take your time. Do your due diligence.
If you're not confident, then let it go. Wait for another opportunity.
Ed, I like that, man. We'll get that link up so we can all take a look at that program. Maybe one of these days I'll actually put it up on the screen and we can use it.
Can dissect it.
Using altering the card in your opinion. Altering the card, in my opinion, is touching up the color, trimming an edge, cutting down around a corner.
Any type of trimming is probably not going to fly. But it does make, and for your own personal stuff, it's not going to be sent in.
Yeah, if you're not doing anything,
you can make it look better.
Do whatever you want to it. But as far as altering the card, I really think that anything that changes the actual original card. So wax to me is not a change. If you want to wipe the back off, if you're trying to put a shine on it so it has a gloss, that's not for me. Because the gloss is a varying degree of gloss in every year. But if you want to remove that wax, I don't have a problem. Gum stain is a gum stain. You're screwed.
You're not going to get anything with the gum stain.
But I don't believe in there's been guys that used to rub like oil on them, some kind of
anything out on the shiny cards.
I just don't. I don't alter the card past the point of removing wax, ever. And to me, removing wax is not altering because it was applied via the packaging process. But I don't go any further. I have took a nice microfiber to the chromes to remove fingerprints. But that's my fingerprint. I can still wipe that down. So, you won't see me wear gloves very often on cards because that's all removable. It doesn't damage a chrome card. It's a chrome seal. But that's what those guys are trying to do when they're wearing the gloves. Keep the fingerprints and the oils off. Curved chrome cards, to be honest with you, the curved chrome card is just a product of that stupid
process
coating. And some years are much worse than others. 2010 was god-awful. And it had some kind of powdery shit. Remember that? It was bad. It
was crap.
I like to keep my chrome cards tight in my box. In my 3-row or my 2-row or my 4-row, I like to keep them tight. I keep the stars and R's that I think are going to be good. I keep them in the card saver. And I think that prevents some of that curl from happening. I don't believe it takes the curl out, and if you're going to try to take the curl out, I think you got to be careful. Remember those Kellogg's cards?
Yeah.
70s were the bad ones, weren't they? The curly. And when you tried to flatten the curl back out of them, you'd get crinkly crackles. It would actually separate the coating.
Yeah.
Diamond cuts are graded like bad centering. They're a miscut. They're bad centering. You're gonna be in trouble. Diamond is something we always try to avoid sending in. And we have had, you open enough 87 Donruss and you see more diamond cut cards than you ever want to see in your life. You want to make sure to avoid those. Guys, our community on Facebook is a strong community. We occasionally like to touch base on Sunday over some hot points and some bullshit when it happens, especially with this PSA thing, because it really pisses me off when people shit on people. But the 99 group, which is Mickey Davis's group, is full of good information and good people. Mickey runs a relatively tight ship. And if you want to know wax, we've said it before here, the Wax Pack group is really good. But if you have questions, comments, concerns, you want to know if something, what do you think? Would you grade this? And you can get just opinions. It's so hard to tell opinions over a picture, but the three of us have no problem talking to you. When the shop's open, we're going to have time during some days to sit and answer some questions. So make sure you're dealing with good people. If you don't know who good people are, ask the good people you know. Ask us. We'll tell you the people we know that are really good people in the hobby, and we know a ton. Mickey's group is 99% PSA graded baseball cards. Cards and billion. That's Mickey's group. Right there. That group's full of good people. I'm in it. Kurt's in it. Hell, there's damn near everybody on here's in it. We broadcast to that group too. Trying to keep the group in the loop. So, and there's not a lot of BS out on that group, man. You don't ever hear us bitching about it. And that's actually where we started. So, just keep in mind, guys, when you're doing business, we've said it before during that whole trimming at PSA and altering cards and doctored cards and what they call that shit, conserving them? Conserving card conservation, like I'm planting trees or something. Don't do business with things that seem to be too good to be true.
Yeah.
And don't do business with people that have a bad rep. So take your time, do your due diligence. If you want to bulk sub PSA, Mark Daly and Mickey. If you want to bulk sub SGC, Mark Kirshner. And if you want to bulk sub BGS, I'm going to tell you not to. Because it sucks. Because it took a year and 2 months and I'm still short like 30 cards. So, yeah, Mike, that's a Facebook group. But, take it easy, guys. We just wanted to touch a little base tonight. We wanted to cover the crap that can happen when you deal with shitty people. And wanted to make sure that that, we're out here to help you. And, we want you to know we're good here and we know good people. And we'll try to put you on the right track and help you out in the hobby as best we can. And if we can't do it, I'm guessing we know something. I mean, shit, like Mike B, I couldn't pronounce a hockey name to save my life, but Mike B's there to save me. And I still don't care. I'm still going to dice him up.
Yeah,
but
you're getting better, though.
You got to say it all French like. Lutte.
Lutte.
Yeah, I like it. So, you guys want to have some fun every Sunday? We'll be here. Damn near every Sunday.
Try to.
We're going to open Modern, and we're going to have talks, and I'm going to look over Wade occasionally, and Wayne's going to look tired and old. So, but anyways, Thursday night's rip. We'll post something here soon, I think, and keep your heads up and avoid the BS in the hobby and find the good people. So, see you later, guys.
All right. Do your best. Take care.